Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 117 of Two Amazon Sellers and a Microphone, brought to you by Solozo. Today, Kris and I are very excited to be talking with Thomas Syvertsen from Login2Profits. Thomas, how you doing?
Doing well, thank you. Thank you for having me.
Oh, we're excited to have you, and this is a great topic we'll be talking about. Just talking about different strategies for using Amazon PPC effectively for product launches, which that's going to resonate with a lot of our listeners on here for sure.
Yeah, I'm glad to hear that.
So, but before we dive into that, we want to know more about you, Thomas. So, take your time. Tell us all about how you got into this space, what you're doing, Login2Profits. You got the floor.
All right, thank you. Yes, I've been doing probably internet marketing now since like 2002. You know, I started in regular kind of internet marketing. I was a marketing director for a gym. Like I kind of had like traditional kind of marketing jobs. And then in 2017, I made a leap to start with Amazon. So I moved to Vegas actually for that. And there's a big seller here in town. They're doing about 20 million a year. So I started managing their PPC ads. And that's how I got into it. So we grew their ad sales. You know, it was like a 7-figure ad campaign. I remember exactly how much we grew it, but I think we grew it like 50 or 100% year over year. And we took the ACoS down from 13 to 10. So, you know, it was a pretty good introduction year for me to get into PPC. So that's how I learned. They had over 5,000 SKUs. It was awesome. Like you got to practice and all the ad formats and all different products and seasonality and see how it all connects. You know, you said I'm saying. So you're learning a lot just by, I would say, advertise different products. And then after that, I got recruited for another company that was in Florida. So they do vitamins. So they were a pretty fast growing company as well. And they were a seller. So they basically recruited me to manage their PPC. So I got a 70% raise. And I got to work remote like one week a month. So that was pretty cool. So I did that a little bit. That company ended up growing from 0 to 100 million a year in less than 2 years. And they were at 20 million when I got there. So they grew from 20 to 100 million that year. And I also helped them like onboard and like land some of the brands that they were talking to. Because they're reselling large brands, obviously. So I was in some of those meetings and pitched, the whole marketing thing about Amazon. And, ironically, that's when they were getting excited, is, when they want to talk about the advertising opportunities for their brand, because like they have whatever they have for sales, you see what I'm saying, especially if they're established. So everyone wants to grow their sales. So, that's why I think PPC is really unique, because once you subject the product for a certain traffic, certain search terms, right? Like you will rank for those keywords unless you have a lousy conversion rate. But obviously, like branded products usually sell pretty well. Like their weaknesses is generally content and not fixing their listings and things like that. But generally, they convert pretty well because people recognize the product and it's sort of what they're looking for. So yeah. So then I did that for 4 or 5 months, and then I started my own agency. I have a little bit of a falling out with the boss man over there, and so I figured I started my own agency. I was like, if I can charge this much to do PPC for one account, like I could charge a third or half of that and just do it from home and be a consultant. You see what I'm saying, and have multiple accounts. So, at first I just wanted to like make 10K a month, I remember. And it's like, I just wanted like 4 accounts at like 2,500 each or something like that. And I hit that the first month. Then like the second month, I was like, I wanted to hit like 12K or something. Then I made like 15. And then the third month, I think I made like 19 or something. And then my 4th full month, I think I billed over 55K.
Wow.
And I was like, at that point, I was like hooked. I was like, my 4th month, I was like, I was broke like 5 months ago, you know what I mean, before this. But it's an amazing skill, it's really valuable. I mean, that's the truth of it, because if I manage PPC and I follow these best practices or what have you, like they will sell a lot more, like the profitability will be a lot better. So, it really is, I would say, one of the most important things to manage in your Amazon account. And if your ads aren't doing well, like you aren't probably doing well organically either, or especially not as good as you could do. So those two always go hand in hand. So my goal is to just grow the average profits for the seller. I don't really care what the ACOS is or what the percentage of organic versus paid is. Like, I just want you to make the most money overall. And sometimes you just gotta, you know, run the account and then look for patterns and see what's going on with the account, and then try to make strategic decisions based on what you see, and then, you know, figure it out basically. But obviously every product is gonna hit a ceiling where it's like, you know, it's not gonna do anymore. But even at that point, it's still very important to manage your ACOS and all that to maintain profitability. So,
well, we'll talk about that because you bring up a good point about not necessarily being super concerned about the ACOS. That's a huge one for so many sellers. They get so hung up on that that it usually handcuffs them. You know, it usually stifles their growth. So we'll dig into that. But I want to touch on something because you've been in marketing for a long time. It sounds like even before Amazon, you were doing marketing for a long time. Just touch on the difference, like, because this is huge, I think, for people that are selling on Amazon to understand. What's different about advertising on Amazon as opposed to all the other types of advertising you can do? There's a double benefit.
Right. So, you know, I come from, you know, like I said, the Google kind of Google ad world. I'm hearing a little bit of feedback. It's fun.
That's all right.
Sorry. Yeah. So, what was the question again?
I'll mute my mic afterwards. That way you don't hear any feedback. But to explain the difference between what the impact of advertising on Amazon versus all the other types of advertising you've done in your past.
Gotcha. I first of all, I think the conversion rate is a lot better. I mean, you know, you hear about traditional kind of Shopify website or whatever they had before this, you know, Yahoo sites or whatever, you know, was like 1 or 2%, you know, conversion rate. Amazon, like, frequently we see conversion rates over 50, right? Like even 75 and things like that. So it's like on branded keywords, it's like very close to 100 even. So obviously the ROI, I think, is fantastic. It's one of the best places to advertise, because I kind of look at Amazon like this. It's a fishbowl with traffic built in. And you're just buying off of that traffic, trying to maximize your overall profits. And some of it is paid and some of it is free. And your job is to have the right combination for your catalog and your pricing, you know, given what you have. You said, I'm saying, given your margins and everything else. Obviously, you got to take everything into consideration. But with Google, you know, there's, you know, I don't know. I mean, I like Amazon advertising a lot better. It converts a lot better, like less issues with like fraudulent clicks. You know, I just had to pause some campaigns for my own agency. There was like all fraudulent clicks. So, like, I got hundreds of leads that were all fake from like Bing and Google traffic. You see what I'm saying? So yeah, I mean, I think it's a lot better. I think they have less issues with like fraudulent clicks, things like that, and people are actually getting a good ROI. And like I said, if you subject the product for the right traffic with the right keywords, it's going to take off organically for those same keywords. Like, Amazon is not stupid. Like, if you think about it, like if you had to sort products in order based on someone's search, you would have the highest converting product first, second highest second, and so forth. And that's what they do. And they look at historic, you know, what have happened as of lately, right? Because they got to look at, you know, recency over historic. If they, for example, change their pricing since they were a bestseller, so they can't like do last 90 days, for example. But I'm sure they're looking at a bunch of data points. But I mean, they basically told me they rank based on expected conversion rate. That's it. I mean, that's it. That's the only metric. So
yeah, you get your product caught up in that flywheel effect, and that's what I think is the biggest difference. Like you touched on it. If you subject your product to certain keywords, Amazon rewards you if it converts, and you start generating all these organic sales. And I think for newer sellers or even large companies that don't totally understand the Amazon marketplace, that's when they get hung up on like the ACOS number. And they're like, no, I got to have it. My ACOS has to be profitable. I got to have it 5% ACOS. And they're missing the entire big picture of what if your product was ranked number one for your main keyword? Wouldn't that be a different scenario?
Exactly.
So
yeah, I mean, I'll ask him like this, right? Like I'll just say things like, you care about like how many profit dollars you take home, how many margin dollars, right? Like that's the, I don't care like if you make, like, I mean, if you make $2 million profit, I don't really care if it comes in at a 10% margin or 30% margin. Like that doesn't bother me. You know what I mean? Like if 2 million is the max, let's go for the max. Like that's what I want to achieve with my clients, and that's what we're trying to achieve. And we're trying to use math and reporting and things like that. Excel, fancy stuff.
So let's dive in now to just talking about launching products with PPC.
Mm-hmm.
What are some of your just sort of standard best practices for somebody launching a product? I guess you can go into, I'm sure people have different budgets when they get started launching, and there's probably different strategies with different budgets, but give us sort of your best practices for a launch.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty old school. I keep it simple. I would say aggressive PPC. So, as much as you can afford to, as far as, ACOS goes. So maybe, I don't know, depends how cheap you are, I guess. But if you're normally like, let's say your normal ACOS is like 30% or something for your bread and butter stuff, maybe go 50, 60% for your launch. You see what I'm saying? So you're cranking it up, your PPC ads. You're willing to spend more because the ROI is not going to be good, because you're not going to have enough reviews and stuff. Like, the conversion rate is not going to be the greatest. But you got to get sales going, right? So crank up PPC, and then have a giveaway on the side with coupons and stuff, just to get the sales velocity, get some units going. Obviously, back in the day, you could get reviews from those. You can't do that stuff anymore. So now it's just straight up for velocity. And also, I think this is where people got to be careful. Also, don't give away too many units unless you know what you're doing. Then it's almost better to stick to the PPC, because they're not going to drive as much rank as you think unless you also have a good conversion rate. So you got, like, I knew a guy, like, he was like giving away like probably $1,000 a day worth of products for like months on end, and they lost hundreds of thousands of dollars. And he was converting like somewhere in the ranks of like 1 in 15 clicks for his main keyword. He needed to be at 1 in 5 to be competitive for that keyword on that. So it doesn't matter how many bottles it gives away. Like, it really doesn't matter. He needed to fix his pricing, his bottle, his listing. He had other problems. So you got to kind of understand what you're trying to achieve. Then obviously you got to gauge, I would say you got to gauge the sales velocity on the first page. So what's going on? Like, how much are these guys selling? So other people are selling around 10K a month or whatever. Like, that's probably where you got to be at, right? So, and that's also a good benchmark to figure out like how many units to give away, because you look at how many units am I selling with PPC, how many units am I selling with organic, and then you see how many are lacking, right, to catch up with the other guys. So that's probably, what you should aim towards as far as the giveaway goes, and go away and, give away 50% coupons until you have enough volume to kind of match that. So yeah, that's probably what I would say. Try get some reviews. Obviously, very little you can do with that anymore. I don't know if you have those automated emails, but they're getting blocked more and more. So, I just, if there's ways of getting reviews within the terms of service, I would try that. Obviously, if you have an email list, anything like that, any brand, asset, like a Facebook list, I would leverage that. Like, any kind of list, any kind of media, whatever you have going on from before. Ex-customers are always great. If you have a list of previous customers, I would definitely market to those first and try to, they're more likely to leave reviews and things like that also. So
when setting up the campaigns, we get this question a lot too, is what structure do I do? Like, do I need to do an auto? Do I need to do broad, phrase, exact? What's your opinion on that?
Right. I set up all ad formats for all products. So I would say it depends on your skill level. Obviously, if you're just, if you're just really a seller and you don't really pay anyone to manage, I would just maybe go for auto. You see what I'm saying? Until you know what you're doing, even if there's one bid up and down, until if you can't hit your ACOS, then lower your bid a little bit, and then let it run for a little bit, and then take out some negatives and try to negative out the stuff that is not working. And then you can like weasel your way down to decent ACoS with just one bid. I think Amazon has a lot of good features, but obviously, as you get more experience, like what I do is I have, like I said, one ad format for each. So I have matching campaign names with, so the campaign names matches, where it's like automatic, ASIN, manual, etc. And then I can transfer keywords around in bulk. So I can transfer keywords from the auto to the manual, negative them out in the auto after the fact, so I can control them better over there. The reason you want to do that is you can squeeze out more orders. Once you have an exact, for example, you can squeeze out more orders than, for example, if you bid on it as a broad or a phrase or whatever, or in an auto campaign. You're just like getting, let's say 30-40% of the clicks you could get, maybe, if you have an exact. So you want to basically know what your best keywords are. Those are the one you discover with your discovery campaigns, so to speak, which is usually auto campaigns. But it could be these like ASIN campaigns too, where you bid on a category, for example, and by doing that, you discover some ASINs that you're now going to start bidding on manually after you discover them. So yeah, sometimes, you discover things even under a broad, right? A broad isn't like, a lot of people don't understand the difference between the match types, but, a broad just bids on what Amazon thinks that is. So it could be anything, like it's really broad. Phrase, the words needs to stick together, how they are. If it's cat food, it's got to be cat food, stick together, and then something else after, before, or whatever. And then if it's exact, it's that just exactly that. So then it's pretty specific. So a broad actually bids on a lot more. It bids on synonyms and things like that. So, which is good. I mean, if not, we just would get really limited traffic. So, yeah, that's kind of probably how I would do it.
There's a lot of different ways to do that. Like you could do a broad in one campaign, phrase in one campaign, exact one campaign. I've seen people do one campaign with 3 different ad groups. I've seen it with one campaign with one ad group with all match types.
Right. So
which one do you like?
Yeah. So I go on the ad group level. I go like ASIN and then like product title or something, and then I have all the ad groups, like the different ASINs, and then I just throw everything in there until it's full, until it's 1,000 keywords. I don't really care because I manage it in bulk anyways, so I don't need to like have the exacts in an ad group by themselves. And the same with the broads and the phrases. I just manage them all together. But sometimes it gets full, and then I'll start a second ad group. Then I'll just duplicate the ad group name and do like -2. Keep it simple.
And how long are you running these aggressively for a product launch? Is that 2 weeks? Is it 2 months? What's the strategy there?
It depends a little bit, but I think a lot can be done in 30 to 60 days. I would say no longer than 90 days. I would say that's probably the long end of a launch. Some products launch so fast because they sell so well, so they're like full sales velocity after 21 days. I had one product go from 0 to 3.5 million a year in 21 days with 14 reviews, and it was competing against product that had like 2,000 reviews. But they hit it right with price point and product mix and like everything. You see what I'm saying? So everything, every so often you have a home run. And then you see like the algorithm actually works really well. You know what I mean? You don't have to do too much. Like I worked on that campaign, like maybe like, I don't know, like 10 minutes a day or something like that. Like not much, just tweaked it a little bit. It was running at like 30% ACoS, 30, 40, 30, 33 or 34 or something like that. I think they had about a 35%, 40% margin and selling like a relatively cheap supplement. So they were killing it, but yeah.
You hit on something there when you talked about the Amazon algorithm works really well. And I agree with you. And I think that you get instant feedback from that algorithm. And if your ads has no impressions, or it's not, Amazon's telling you this product, we don't give it a very good relevancy score for this keyword. And at what point do you tell you like a client, like, the issue is a product, we've got to now tweak the product because the campaigns are working as intended, but it's not going to do anything.
The technical word is the product sucks. That's what it is. I mean, we just try to maximize the potential, right? Like if like even shitty products sells a little bit, right? So if you have 1,000 products, you're gonna have shitty products, right? No matter who you are, almost, even if you're Nike, you know what I mean? Like you're gonna have something that's low quality, that doesn't sell well, that's struggling. So I kind of look at our job like kind of just maximizing your catalog, given what you have. You see what I'm saying? So if I can take it up to its potential, even if that potential is only like $500 a month, like so be it. I don't worry about it too much. Obviously, I try to communicate with the sellers that I advertise for, because they need to price the product well, and that means they need to keep the product relatively, for my strategy to work relatively well, which is managing by ACoS. For that strategy to be effective, they need to keep the pricing so the product is relatively equal competitive wise. Because let's say it falls behind, now we get that negative feedback loop where I'm forced to reduce my bids because the ACoS is going up, conversion rate is going down. I'm just gonna reduce, and eventually traffic goes down, sales goes down, and then organic comes down. So then it all goes down. So if that starts happening, then it's a pricing issue. But obviously they have the margin they have. So you see what I'm saying? So it's kind of a dialogue to, I would say it's more of a pricing. If they can be dynamic, like we don't really need to talk about it. Like, I don't know what they have for a sales plan for each product. You see what I'm saying? Some are more active than others, and some, I would say the best sellers are pretty active with their pricing and being aggressive too. I see the ones that are struggling are usually greedy. Like they charge like way too much for their brand new product because they think they just can take a lot of margin, whatever. But I mean, that's fine. But I mean, if it works, right, you get the data. That's what I'm saying. The algorithm is telling you, like, you're selling like 1 unit a month, maybe try something else. Like you can always change it back. You can go back to your high price if if you don't think that's what it is. You see what I'm saying? So yeah, I mean, try different things. It's price, photos, listing quality, product quality. Obviously, if you have your product manufactured already, like it is what it is, and I guess you can improve it on the next go around, or if you're making a 2.0 or whatever. But I mean, for the most part, it's just lipstick on a bulldog, right? You just and you can't really like make it. Yeah, you can't, take a chihuahua and make it into a racehorse. Like it's just not going to happen. But it can do its potential, and that's, I would say, the dialogue I have with clients more that I find productive is talk about what SKUs that I think should do more. Where are their untapped potential? Whether it's a 3,000 SKU that could do 10K, or it's a 10K SKU that could do 20K. Like, I don't really care where the growth comes from. Look, let's just see, based on, you might use software, go to Amazon and look for revenue numbers and be like, hey, we're way behind with this product. Like, it should do better or whatever. Like, that's when I think you can, start to make better decisions. Maybe change your ACoS, change your pricing a little bit, do a giveaway, do a coupon. Amazon have all these programs, and a lot of people, they don't participate. So I would say the more of those programs you participate in, the better your program will rank. Whether it's, lightning deals, all this stuff, like it does work, So yeah, I mean, Amazon told me directly, if you run a deal, for example, like if you run aggressive PPC for the next 30 to 90 days, you get that halo effect, like they talked about. Like, it's real. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's not something, like, even when Amazon talks about it with sellers, like, I would say it's pretty, safe to say it's real. But I mean, obviously there's a lot of theories out there that I would say is bullshit, but you know what I mean? Especially a lot of these rank and launch people, because they're not real. Just like what we talked about. If the pricing is too high, it doesn't matter how many units you give away, how theoretically correct you do the launch. If it's like, it just doesn't convert.
Yeah, eventually it's going to come back down to earth.
That's right. So you can only, even if you're like cheaters, right? Like some of these Chinese sellers and stuff, they're buying their own products back, but that costs money too. Like, so they're watering down their own profit. Honestly, it's the best if you can just hit a home run, but obviously it's hard to do. So I understand the temptation to cheat, but I would rather just, try to move on and just launch more products versus trying to make an old one work, if that makes sense.
make it shiny and when it doesn't have anything to
Exactly.
make it look
Especially
good.
if it's established. If it's not established yet, you got to do your launch. You know what I mean? You got to get the reviews, got to get some PPC campaigns going. But if you're like, hey, this product just doesn't sell well enough, unless we drop the price to what we think is this, but then we're not making any money. So, we're already priced as low as we can, then you know what I mean? It is what it is at that point. So
yeah, a lot of sellers we see too, and we're guilty. Dustin and I are guilty. We fall in love with it, and we want to keep it around, and we want to try to make it work. But at the end of the day, it's like I wasted months and months trying to make this thing work, and it never would have worked anyway. I should have just got rid of it and move on to the next product.
Have you seen this though? This has happened to me a couple of times where I had products where we're liquidating, and we're like, "Fuck this product, gonna get rid of it." So we have even the liquidation PPC campaign, and they just keep dropping their price until it moves. That's how you liquidate, right? Every day you go in and drop it $1, right? And then eventually, like somebody starts doing well, and you're like, shit.
Maybe I keep it.
Yeah, I literally had them keep it, and they're like, no, we don't want to liquidate anymore. Why not? No, now it's doing so well. Yeah, because we had the liquidation campaigns, and now the algorithm is picking it back up. So it was a pricing issue the whole time. Like especially if you could have afforded it, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
If you're below your break-even price point and whatnot, and you like legitimately liquidating. But yeah, I mean, it does happen.
Yeah, at the very beginning, what would you say? Because a lot of new sellers, they don't have the capital to do a lot of testing campaigns and discovery campaigns and auto campaigns and brand campaigns and all that stuff. They just have $30 or $50 a day they need to focus on, and they need to spend that on advertising. What would that be? If you had to pick one campaign? I have $50 to spend. Where would you go with it?
First, great question, by the way. I don't do it like that. I do uncapped spend no matter what. I have an ACOS be the restrictor, so there will be a restriction. You're not gonna spend unlimited. But I would say this: if you just had like a limited budget, whatever, you wanna nail the big money keywords, or a keyword that you think you can rank for. And honestly, some of the time it's not the keyword you think. So you have the money where the big keyword that is almost impossible to rank for, like vitamin C, right? For example, like very competitive. But you could rank for like vitamin C 500 milligram. Like that's a little easier. So you rank for a lot of, sometimes you backdoor your way up to the first page by ranking for some of these easier keywords. And this is why it's important to add your keywords as phrase, as broad and everything else, because you get a little variation then, and you start to rank for these variations. They're not searched as much. And some of the competition may not have those keywords in their campaign. So you might have some unique competitive advantage where you, shoot ahead a little bit. But I would say but you want to hammer the exact keywords. So yeah, the exact keywords that you want to rank for. But obviously but let's say you get a bad ACOS for the main keyword that you like, oh man, I wish I could rank for this. And it's like $4 a click and my product is $15. You know what I mean? Like, what are you going to do? You know what I mean? So then you just got to go to the second best keyword and try to buy that for $1 or whatever you can get it for. You know what I mean? And that's sort of how I would go about it. But yeah, your job is just to buy as much traffic as you possibly can, given your ACOS restriction, and then aim every keyword towards that, right? So if you see a keyword at 10%, raise the bid, keep raising it, and it's until it's like hitting the ceiling of the ACOS goal. And then you got to back off. I mean, if your ACOS goal is like 30, I would probably back off after like 25 or something. But keep raising your bid until you're almost there, because that's where this volume comes from. And that's how we kind of achieved the most amazing results we ever did for our clients is exactly because of that, because we're able to now raise the ad sales by double. Now the organic is going to double, and they're going to have organic rank for all these keywords they used to not have rank for.
You started this answer by saying you don't have a budget limitation, you have an ACOS limitation. Describe what that means. Yeah,
so I'm willing to sell unlimited products given my ACOS restriction. So yeah, let's say the margin on a product is like 40% or something, and our ACOS goal is 30%. So yeah, it's profitable. Every sale is profitable. So if I see a keyword, yeah, exactly, I'm going to raise the bid, and now it's going to do more units. I'm going to add more keywords, try to find similar keywords that I think is going to provide similar kind of sales or I don't even care exactly. Like, it doesn't even have to be the same conversion rate. Like, any keyword that sells at all can be added into the campaign, and you just manage the bid to get the right ACoS. So even if it sells 1 in 50 clicks, that's okay, as long as you only pay what you want to pay. But that's what I do, right? And I do it, thousands of keywords at a time, and try to maximize, squeeze out the most juice out of every single one. I mean, and that's really it. Like, if you have the correct bids, that's how you maximize your sales, given your ACoS restriction. But eventually, right, like, some of them will start to show high ACoS. You're forced to reduce it. Now that drops in traffic or whatever. If you sell out your product and now it's out of stock and now it's FBM, now your ACoS is going to go way down, go way up, because FBM doesn't convert as well. So there's all these things to think about, so obviously you got to have the inventory and things like that. So there's a little bit of that going on, but for the most part, we just want to speed up the sales. So.
When you're doing this, how often are you adjusting the bids to hit these ACoS targets? Are you doing it weekly or daily, or how often are you going in there to make these adjustments?
So it depends a little bit on the size of the account. I would say it's a very small account. I don't manage that small, but I would say if you're just a small seller doing like less than $1 million, I would say you're probably every 2 weeks. It should be good. I do it weekly for all of my clients. And I also check on it every couple of days, depending on. So sometimes you do daily tweaks where you go in, and if you're, for example, scaling a new campaign, it's always like a bunch of bids you could raise or whatever. And like, so you could go in and do things like that, either in bulk or in the browser. Sometimes I like to do the daily checkups just in the browser to see how things are going. But most of the stuff I just do weekly, and I do it all in bulk. So I do all of their bids. Like, every single bid I either touch on, or I choose not to touch on. But I do all of their bids weekly. Yeah.
Are you manipulating? It's probably a bad word, but are you adjusting the placements on these campaigns, top of search, blog page? Or are you leaving those at 0? How does that? What do you do there?
Another great question. Too bad I don't have that graphic on me. Maybe I can email to you guys and add it to the attachments or something. But basically, what you want to do there, you want to balance your ACoS on those. So, for example, so those placement bid adjustments is basically what they were used to be called. Now they're called placements, I think. So yeah, so basically, usually the top one, I think that's top of search. That one I have set to 50. That was the old bid plus. So if you don't know anything else and you're like, just want to go old school, just put it at 50 and 0. That's what it used to be, and that's pretty fucking good. That works. Probably got to bleep that. So that works. Like, that's a tried and true workhorse. You know what I mean? And it works for a reason. And again, like, if that doesn't work for you, like, maybe you have other problems. Maybe you have listing issues, pricing issues, and what have you. Amazon is not going to, sometimes when you don't get these clicks, it's your own fault. Like, because Amazon is not going to waste a click on a listing that doesn't convert. Even if they're getting paid, they could give it to another guy that's getting conversions. Like, so that's why sometimes you see these older campaigns that are like selling like whatever. I mean, it doesn't matter what it is, selling products for years on end. And then you'd be like, how the hell are you getting these kind of clicks for this keyword when you see other sellers trying to sell that same product and they can't even get a fraction? Like, because it's like a proven river of water. You see what I'm saying? So the water is just going to run that way. It's not going to start, like, we don't have the need for this new thingy, right? Like, there's no need for it in the marketplace. So the algorithm is like, this other one is doing fine. But yeah, if that one sells out, maybe we'll shovel some more traffic this way and see how it does. But in the meantime, we don't really need to give it a lot of traffic. So Amazon is always like selfishly distributing the traffic to whoever sells the best and the most and the longest, and you see what I'm saying, or most proven or whatever. So yeah, I think Amazon is just a staying game. Stay in the game, keep selling what you're selling, don't get outcompeted, and hopefully squeak out a margin the whole way.
You'd be a fun guy to go to a bar with and have a couple drinks with.
Yeah, I live in Vegas, so just hit me up if you come.
Yeah, yeah. We will definitely take you up on that offer next time we're down there.
For sure, man.
This is fun talking about this. You got
this is.
It's good insights, and I like your perspective. A lot of times we talk to people and it gets really analytical, but just like what you said, just understanding that the feedback you get from Amazon, their algorithm is very, very, very good. They want to make sales, and you just touched on it, but you could be bidding way higher than somebody else on a keyword and never get it because your
product's shitty.
Yeah, your product's not. Amazon knows this other product's going to sell, so they're willing to take a 75-cent click over your $1.50 click any day to get that sale.
Let me tell you where that came from. They stole that feature from Google. So I call it a relevancy discount. So remember the old Google AdWords program. So if two guys are bidding on the same keyword and one guy has double the conversion rate or click-through rate, that the other guy has, he not only wins the auction, but he pays half the price of the other dude. So he actually gets it for 50 cents or whatever. And if the other guy would have won, he would have had to pay the full dollar. Why is that, right? So they're rewarding. And I bet you guys see that often in campaigns where you see, for example, branded keywords, but sometimes even strong keywords where you're like bidding like $15, but you're getting like, 12 cents a click. And you're getting, because you're dominating that keyword and they're giving you the relevancy discount. So there's maybe another guy that like every so often, I'm one of those guys, like I said, I always raise the bid. I end up with $99 bids, $100 bids on keywords that, really shouldn't spend more than a couple of bucks a click at the most. But it's like, I don't care. I keep raising it until I get a click. So, because I don't know if it's going to come in at 20 cents or not. That's why I keep doing it. This is why, like, I have a lot of weird campaigns with the bids look all messed up, but it's just how it works. You know what I mean? Because I don't care what the bid is. I don't care if it says $100 in the thing if I'm getting 20-cent clicks. But obviously, every so often, you're going to get an expensive click and you need to catch yourself. Like, I remember, like, when all of a sudden, like, the average cost per click was like $8. Or like, it's like, okay, now there's been some expensive clicks. I got to go and find them. But that's pretty easy with bulk and filters and everything. Like, it's pretty easy to find once you have them. But yeah, I mean, just crank it up.
So it's so interesting. You're exactly right. I mean, that people get so scared about that bid, but if it's a good keyword and you convert well, you'll never get charged what you're bidding, and you'll most likely get charged less than what your competitors are bidding as long as you do better. So it comes down to make sure you got a good product, right?
Yes, and that's where also, back to those bid adjustments, like that's where also they can come in and help you, because certain categories are just a little crazy, and then you can use those to kind of just gradually up those if you're not getting any traffic. Obviously, you got to watch your cost per click. I don't like to use those new dynamic up and down. This is like 100% bid adjustment up and down. It's just like, how are you going to get good ACOS with that? I just don't understand. Like, I'm so good with my bids. I don't honestly need any bid adjustments. Like, I can set it on the cent and it will be the ACOS it will, unless the conversion rate changed. Like, I know exactly what the bid needs to be, but it's just like, it's giving you some wiggle room in case competition. It's like, because if I raise my bid 5 cents and then I'm bidding against you raise your 5 cent, then you see what I'm saying? But if we both have bid plus turned on, now it's getting pushed up by itself because we're allowing the algorithm to keep the bidding war going a little bit longer. That's basically what's going on. So now you're buying a little bit more traffic. But obviously it's very smart on Amazon's behalf because it's, but it's like going to an auction, right? It's like, it's a storage wars, right? You got to make a profit on what's in the locker. You can't pay too much for the locker, There's no difference. You got to have your max paying point, and that's where we come back to usually the margin of the product and back to the ACOS, right?
It's such a good point. We are going to have you back on. It's fun, Kris.
This has been good. Yeah, this has been good. It's been good talk.
It is. It's fun to have these conversations, and like I said, like your approach, like your just big picture outlook on it. I think a lot of people miss that. They get so into the numbers that they miss the big picture. But we'll get you for sure back on again in the future. There's always a million things to talk about in this Amazon space. But before we go, let everyone know how they can get in touch with you if they want to work with you, or how can they get in touch with you?
Yeah, fantastic. So I have a website. So that's Login2Profits.com with the number 2 in it. And then we have an Instagram channel with the same name. So just Login2Profits is the user on Instagram. And on LinkedIn, I'm Thomas Syvertsen in one word. So I provided you guys with the URL. So I think it's going to be in the show notes or whatever. So yeah, just check out my links. I'm getting, what's that new audio thing?
Clubhouse?
Yes, I'm getting on Clubhouse. So I'm Login2Profits on Clubhouse also, but I haven't done anything on there yet. But I'm like a podcast nerd. Like I love microphones and such that. Like I'm not so good with video, but so I'm kind of excited about like the Clubhouse. Yeah,
it's awesome. Yeah, Kris and I have been on there quite a bit.
Is there a way to hook up your quality microphone though? That's the only thing I'm worried about. Like, how can I get my quality microphone in there? You see what I'm saying?
I don't know. I don't think so. And I don't think anybody cares in there. I mean,
it's not about that, but it's not about that. But it is an edge though. If you do have a better mic, you know what I mean? It really is. But you can probably like maybe they can upload it to their website or something. Log in, just like on Instagram, you can go on the browser. And
maybe. Yeah, I'm not sure. We've done everything on the phone that we've done. So
well, we'll see. It's a new app still. So are you guys on there?
Yep,
we are. Yeah.
We'll come find you.
Yeah,
let's do a room or something. Maybe we'll like next year is Prime Day, and we'll have a Prime Day room or something.
Oh, for sure.
Answer people's questions or something.
Yeah, we're definitely open to doing rooms. They're fun on there. So
we'll
do that. And I encourage everyone who's watching, go to Clubhouse, follow. Login2Profits on Clubhouse, and then the LinkedIn will be on the show notes here. It'll be in the description wherever you're watching this or listening to this. Again, if you enjoy content like this, I encourage you to please subscribe to our podcast, To Amazon Sellers and a Microphone. It's on every platform for podcasts out there. Subscribe to it. Leave us a review. Let us know how we're doing. Also, you can watch these as video live streams on Solozo's Facebook channel. So go to Solozo's Facebook page and subscribe to that as well, or like it, follow it. And the same thing with YouTube, Solozo's YouTube channel. Follow us there, and you can see all these as we go live every day with really cool people like Thomas. Next time, Thomas, we'll have you on. We're going to have beers. We're going to make this sound like we're all at the bar having a good old time, because it's just fun hanging out and talking like this.
All right, let's do it. Thank you for having me. This was fun.
Yep. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time. See everyone.